Hello YouTube. In my last video I got as far as gluing the rubber on these rails after modifying them. So in this video I'm going to show you how I cover them. I've done 4 so far, so I've got a bit of a system going. First part's easy. Just got to get this cloth in that slot. Make sure my fillet is centred. Seems okay. And now hammer it down. Right. And now I need to trim off this excess. Next, I'm just going to make a cut up to the corner of the fillet there. There we go. So I'll be able to fold the fabric up here, which will just cover the end of the fillet. And now I'm going to glue this rubber down in a curve and drive a small nail in there just to hold it. You glue on it. That goes tacky. It's a bit longer. Make sure that's driven well in. Okie doke. Now I'm just going to run my blade down the edge of here to try and take off some of the sharpness of this beveled edge for reasons that I will explain later. On a full-size table, this rubber would actually come out and around the end of the fillet and end about here, and then it would be cut to shape. But at this scale, that's much too difficult to do. This rubber is really difficult to cut. So I cheat. I've done it that way. And then I take a little piece of craft foam. I'm going to glue it on the end of the fillet there, and then wrap this fabric up over the top, just to smooth out the transition between rubber and where it meets wood. Wait for that to stick. And then once the cloth is stretched over it, it will smooth that out pretty well. I'm going to give it a bit of a spray with water, just so it stretches a bit, and then when it dries it should tighten up even more. I'm going to put a staple dead centre. That'll be my reference point then as I bring the cloth and stretch it until it's not trying to wrinkle in the wrong places. Just put a bit of stretch on that. And put a staple in. The next part is going to be difficult for me to do on camera, but my next step is to pull the fabric around the end nice and neatly, and also fold it underneath just to make it look more professional. That's not absolutely essential, and put a staple in there. Here's one I did earlier. This is what I want it to look like in the end. So having done that one staple there in the end, I'm now going to pull this up as smooth as I can and put a staple right at the end there. Let's give it a stretch again. And then later there'll be another staple in the end here that will stretch the rest across. But for now, I want one in here. Where's the end? There. That's the most important one. The rest is fairly easy now. Now I need to drag this cloth that way and try and put a little wrinkle in there that will be stapled. Difficult to describe really. But so the wrinkle doesn't extend down there. where it's visible. I mean, it wouldn't matter because it's underneath the actual bit where the ball is, but you want it to look nice and professional. Now I want to trap that wrinkle. Not too much. Looks good. And then repeat. Trap another wrinkle in there. Oh, that staple's hit something. I might take that out. But that process repeats. Usually I only need 3 staples close together here, and then once I get down to here, the cloth is simply being pulled up. There are no more wrinkles to take up. Whereas for a staple, 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 it doesn't need excessive numbers of staples. That staple's proud actually because it's hit a knot in the wood. So actually I'll just hammer it down. There we go. Now I'm pulling up. This is probably the last wrinkle I need to take out. Yes, and now just work my way along. That's one side done. And the sun's gone in. And now I'll just repeat it for the other corner. One staple in the end. Stretch up and put that all-important one in. Somewhere there. The wood is quite damaged here because it's been done so many times. So I've just got to do what I can. And this time I'm pulling the cloth gradually this way and trapping a wrinkle. And trap another wrinkle. Oh. I think I can get away with that. Do I need to take that staple out again? I mean, as I say, it doesn't matter. The ball's never going to hit that. It's not going to affect play. It just looks unsightly. I might take that staple out and do it again. And there's the other side done. Now I'm going to trim off this excess. Now, something that's specific to this table, on a full-size table you wouldn't bother, but on this small table, what I want to do is to actually cut through these wrinkles and glue them down to the wood as flat as I can get them. And that's to stop these interfering with how low the rail sits on the table when I screw it back on. Otherwise these wrinkles will be trying to push the cushion up slightly, and I need it to be lower down. I'm going to explain this a bit later. I'll just snip through these. And then to stop them fraying, I'm going to put some glue on. Come on. And then once it's actually clamped down to the table, everything should stay put. That's about as flat as it's going to get. Whoop. And then I'm going to put some glue on this fabric here and put a staple in there. That's just the way I've chosen to do it. I think it looks nicer with the cloth continuing down here rather than ending here. I'll just put some glue onto there. Everything's so much more difficult when you've got to film it. And just stretch that with my thumb so it smooths out this curve nicely. Wait for that glue to go off. It's only Yoo-hoo. As I say, when it's clamped to the table, nothing's ever likely to move. There. And I'll finish off the other end. Here's the other end. I've cut through the wrinkles, just glued them down a bit, and I just need to do this last little flap. Stretch that across. There we go. This is the first cushion I did, and when I routed it to take the new rubber, I did it so the rubber would be flush with the top of the wood, which seemed like the right thing to do. However, if you look at where the ball actually contacts the rubber, it's much too high on the ball, and the bevel on it is actually trying to bounce the ball down into the table. So I get a very dead response from it. this is the one I just did, and this is after I modified my routing depth so the rubber was at least a couple of millimeters lower. I couldn't make it as low as I'd like, and I also scraped off the blade of the edge of the cushion so that it contacts the ball at a better height. It's not ideal. The ideal height is 63% of the height of the ball, which for me would be 28 millimeters. But that's not bad, and it bounces off much better. So I need to go back and redo this one. Six finished cushions. I think I'm ready now to cover the bed of the table. See you in the next video.